If there's one word gamers hate to hear, it's delay. And it looks like one of Sony's big exclusives for 2018, Days Gone, has been hit with a delay to 2019. What is going on, guys? Randall Thor 19, the man with the million, back again with another video. It's been a pretty interesting last couple days in the video game industry. Lots of news, lots of new games announced, and now we have a delay for a game that was scheduled to come out in 2018, but now looks to be coming out maybe early 2019. And let's talk about maybe some of the reasons why it got pushed to next year, and if it's going to have time kind of sharing the spotlight with The Last of Us 2. Now, if you guys, of course, pay attention to my prediction videos, where I correctly predicted not only the release date of Detroit Become Human, not only the release date for State of Decay 2, I also said in my PlayStation prediction video that Days Gone was going to be delayed to 2019 and released sometime early next year, February or March. And once again, it looks like I am 3 for 3 because Sony confirmed today that the title has been officially delayed to 2019. So I woke up to a bunch of notifications on Twitter today, especially from Jay, because I have been saying Days Gone isn't a 2018 title, but he didn't want to believe it. Apparently, on the Days Gone webpage on PlayStation.com, people noticed that the release date had changed and it now said 2019. So, of course, as usual, this led a whole bunch of websites to speculate, oh, well, now it's being delayed. It's on the website. IGN ran an article. Pretty much like all the different gaming-related websites out there ran articles saying Days Gone delayed. US Gamer actually got in touch with Sony, and they asked the PR department, and they actually did receive a response. So this is official coming from Sony, and here's the quote. Days Gone will now be releasing in 2019, and we will keep you updated on the launch date. So it is now official, straight from Sony themselves. Days Gone is now added to the lineup in 2019, and honestly, it's probably for the best, and I don't think it had anything to do with the game being bad or the game not being ready. I think this is probably more of a case of just there not being enough time left in 2018 and Sony wanting something to kind of spearhead 2019. Because if you look at it, God of War got delayed a month. Yes, it's coming out April 20th, but you kind of know that game was supposed to come out March 20th. So you have God of War in April, you have Detroit Become Human in May. It is pretty weird that they are releasing two of their kind of big first-party titles, back to back. I would imagine originally they were supposed to be a month gap in between there. It was supposed to be, God of War in March and then Detroit Become Human in May. But because of that, and you have still Spider-Man coming, which in my video I said I think is July or August, and then you have Dreams. There's just not enough time left in the year to also release Days Gone. So if you figure, Spider-Man is July and Dreams is maybe September, or maybe Spider-Man is August and Dreams is September, well, once you kind of reach October, it's dead season for first-party games, because that is the breeding ground, so to speak. That is the playground of the huge multiplats. We already know that Call of Duty Black Ops 4 moved from November to early October to get away from Red Dead Redemption 2, which was supposed to release this spring, but is now releasing and at the end of October. So the dominoes are all basically collapsing. They're all hitting each other and going down. This is going to have a lot of impact. Call of Duty moving out of November to October is going to impact other games, because now Battlefield 5 is going to have to decide where it's going to move. And then other games are going to decide, man, I don't want to compete with these games. I'm going to have to shuffle when I want my games to come out. That's definitely going to affect Microsoft, if Microsoft has any plans on releasing any first-party titles at the end of the year, as well as Sony. So there's just no time to release Days Gone where it wouldn't get kneecapped from Call of Duty or Battlefield 5 or Red Dead Redemption or any of those other games that are potentially coming at the end of the year. So it's a safe bet to be like, let's bolster the lineup for 2019 because Sony already has a pretty damn good 2018. You already started it off with Shadow of the Colossus, you have MLB in March, you have Spider-Man, you have God of War, you have Detroit Become Human, you have Dreams, I mean, you have like Ni no Kuni 2 and a bunch of other games that maybe I'm not thinking off the top of my head. So their 2018 is strong from an exclusive standpoint. They don't need Days Gone in 2018, period. And then you look about the other games that are scheduled for next year, and I'm not saying it's lacking, but there's definitely less games scheduled for 2019 than there are for 2018. So it makes a lot of sense, a lot of business sense, to put a game, anchor it in the February-March spot that Sony loves to do. I mean, think about God of War releasing in April. The previous year, Horizon Zero Dawn launching in February. It's a good release date, not only for first-party games from Sony, Microsoft, Microsoft releasing Sea of Thieves in March this year. It's just a good release time. You get away from all the big multi-platform games at the end of the year. People get maybe their tax returns back. They're looking for new experiences. You hit them with Days Gone end of February, early March, and maybe it does well. Because if you look at the rest of the lineup that announced games that Sony has, it's The Last of Us 2, Death Stranding, and Ghost of Tsushima. So if Days Gone did come out this year, say it came out in September, then next year for PlayStation looks a little bit weaker in the quantity aspect, not of course quality, because we all know Last of Us 2 is going to be amazing, but you don't have a lot of games coming out in 2019. So you move Days Gone, you put it out in February, you have Last of Us 2 coming out 2019, in my opinion, probably around the anniversary release date of the first Last of Us. So we're thinking June sometime. I'm not exactly sure of the actual date. I did in my video for prediction, I have it in there. And then perhaps Death Stranding comes out towards the end of the year, maybe September. You put out Death Stranding. Everyone's going to want to play the new Kojima game, but then, of course, what does that really mean for Ghost of Tsushima? Because a lot of people assumed that Ghost of Tsushima would be an early 2019 title. Now with Days Gone moving to the February-March spot, with The Last of Us 2 coming in potentially in June, and Death Stranding coming in September, where does that now fit Ghost of Tsushima? Are people who have been speculating that's a 2019 title wrong? Is it possible Ghost of Tsushima is more of a early 2020 title, maybe a cross-gen PS5, PS4 title? Because now we also think about that. We got to think about the next gen, and Sony's got to save possibly some of these games for whenever those consoles come out. Because this isn't a game of checkers. This is a game of chess. And releasing Days Gone, as like the fifth title in 2018, going up against the juggernauts, just doesn't make good business sense. It's better for the game to get delayed, to get more polish, to get more work done on it, release it when there's less competition. It's a new IP, it's from Sony Bend, and they're the makers of Siphon Filter. It needs all the help it can possibly get, so you give it to it. And then there's the group of gamers that are like, you can't release Days Gone and Last of Us 2 in the same year. I think you can. I think you definitely can, as long as they're spaced far enough apart. If you have Days Gone come out in February, and then you have The Last of Us 2 come out in June, I mean, you're talking about a good, 5-month gap there, or a 4-month gap or whatever, and I don't see what the big deal is. They wouldn't necessarily compete with each other. And of course, I guess it's all possible. Last of Us 2 is 2020, but I don't think it is. So that's a domino effect. Like, what does this mean for their other games? This year there just wasn't enough time in the calendar year for Days Gone to come out, and it just makes sense to push it to 2019. But then again, what does that mean for Ghost of Tsushima? Is it possible they can, hey, Days Gone March? Is it possible they just do Ghost of Tsushima May and then Last of Us in June, or maybe later in the year? And what does that mean for Death Stranding? So honestly, I wouldn't get upset, PlayStation Nation. Delays happen all the time. It happens on Nintendo's side. It happens on the Xbox side. It happens on PlayStation. Game development is long, and a lot of setbacks happen. But I believe this is for the betterment of the game. I believe it's so it can give it a better release window, so it can, have a better chance of succeeding in early 2019 instead of kind of getting overshadowed by the bigger multi-platform games that would come out around the end of the year. Now, let me know what you guys think about Days Gone coming in 2019. I'm interested to read people's comments. Do you think you can't release Days Gone and Last of Us 2 in the same year? I've seen a lot of comments going along about that, but I'm not exactly sure. Either way, let me know what you think about all this stuff. And as always, if you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Consider subscribing to the channel for more content. Hit the notification bell so you always get notifications whenever I do drop new videos, because YouTube is wonky with that stuff. And as always, thank you guys so much for watching. It really means a lot to me. And I'll see everybody in the next video. Later, guys.